Lately, I have seen too many videos giving advice for adventurers about how to defeat dragons. Here, I will share my advice for my fellow dragons about how to defeat adventurers, based on my 5,000 years of defeating all of those who dare to oppose me. I'd recommend to start with understanding the motivations of the adventurers, at least in their point of view, keeping in mind that of course they are misinformed and illogical. What could convince them to attempt to fight against a dragon? What could be their larger goals or personal quests that would compel them to make such a foolish decision? I remember one time when a group of adventurers came to my lair, claiming that my presence alone was threatening their kingdom. Clearly, their small-mindedness prevented them from comprehending their natural subservience in my domain. Patiently, I clarified for the adventurers that they were intruding into my realm, yet I could accommodate them into my territory, much in the same way as they, as humanoids, could accommodate chickens and vegetables in their farms. I helped them to understand that dragons want to eat them, but we do not want to eat all of them at once and drive them toward extinction. We want for them to be healthy and happy and delicious. We honestly care about them just like they care about their chickens and their vegetables. With this rapport and basic education, the adventurers were willing to strike a deal with me. They even thought that it was their own idea. They agreed to deliver a certain amount of treasure as tribute to my lair once per year. The lucky people who were selected to transport the tribute then would be eaten. This agreement was productive for some centuries. The population was sustainable and tasty. Meanwhile, I used my influence to guide the course of humanoid history according to my wishes. After a long time, another group of adventurers decided that our treaty was no longer acceptable, and they developed a plan to fight against me in my lair, aiming to defeat me and thereby terminate the treaty that they disliked. I recognize their underlying motives of wanting to steal my magnificent treasure hoard and claim my lair as their own. One of the adventurers swore a sacred oath of vengeance against me, personally. He deluded himself with a contrived story about how I was responsible for killing someone who he loved. As is typical of this kind of adventurer, he wore heavy armor, and he wielded a handheld weapon, thus giving himself no choice but to attempt to enter into melee combat against me, even though I could fly and breathe fire onto him from a long range. Another one of these adventurers was a wizard. She presented a little bit of a challenge for me because she knew so much about magic and about dragons. Ultimately, though, all wizards are soft and easily eaten. I did enjoy tempting the wizard with promises about learning ancient draconic secrets, just long enough to lure the wizard into the optimal position to be attacked, along with her companions. Otherwise, a wizard could be problematic with the ability to cast spells from a safe distance. The third adventurer in this group was a gratuitous edgelord. He moved unseen in the shadows, or so he thought. He suffered silently inside his private thoughts about his sad childhood and pathetic life, all of which he blamed on me. This adventurer was talented at avoiding many of my attacks through quick movement and cowering behind barriers. For this kind of adversary, the best approach is to control the battlefield. Ideally, through the special qualities of a dragon's lair, I created fountains of magma and clouds of noxious smoke that could restrict the adventurer's movement and deliver damage to him regardless of his agility or his ability to hide behind cover. All of these approaches potentially could work against any adventurer. However, some are more effective than others in different situations. I encourage for you to invest a little bit of your time to learn about the most popular types of adventurers. If you can know in advance about their strengths and weaknesses, then you can be prepared to adapt quickly to defeat your foes. Without this preparation, you may be surprised that some adventurers are indeed capable of defeating you. Fortunately for us as dragons, we live for a long time, and we can make many preparations. Among the most important preparations for any dragon, I strongly recommend to develop your draconic lair in a manner that fits with your personality and that can entrap and control any intruders. After you can establish your draconic lair, then you may want to consider about recruiting minions, followers, or perhaps cultists. I suggest to work primarily with weak-minded creatures who can be manipulated with just minimal effort and minimal rewards for their labor. They can be tedious with their blind devotion and their laughably misinformed views about draconic history and lore. Nonetheless, they can be effective with imposing your will on the many delicious humanoids who populate your realm. Additionally, they can capture or otherwise handle most of the lesser experienced adventurers who might attempt to cause trouble for you, and they can wear down the stronger foes before they can enter into your lair. By the time when any serious adventurers reach to your lair, they probably already have been weakened significantly. In this case, I suggest to strike as soon as you can before the adventurers can rest and recuperate some of their power. I could continue with more stories from my 5,000 years of draconic majesty, but I should avoid committing the mistake of being boring for you. If you want to learn more from me, then I advise for you to add your tribute in the comment section.